The elevator dinged as it arrived on the 27th floor of Kensington Corporate, a sleek glass tower where ambition walked in heels and billion-dollar deals were closed over coffee. Maya Bennett stepped out, holding a steaming cup in one hand and her laptop bag in the other, her heels clicking crisply on the polished marble floor. She was late. Again, and she hated being late. Especially today, when she was supposed to onboard a new intern. Turning the corner sharply, she collided with someone, hard enough to slosh her latte over the rim. "Oh," she gasped, stepping back instinctively. The man in front of her didn't flinch. He stood tall, calm, wearing a plain white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled casually to the elbows. No tie, no badge, not even a company lanyard. Just a pair of gray slacks, 2 coffee cups in hand, and a quiet smile playing on his lips. "I am so sorry," Maya said quickly. "You must be the new intern, Jacob, right?" The man tilted his head slightly, his smile deepening. "Jacob. Sure, let's go with that." She didn't notice the flicker of amusement in his eyes. "No need to be nervous," she said, already walking ahead. "This floor can feel intimidating at first, but if you keep up and don't spill coffee on the boss, you'll survive." He followed her silently, trying not to laugh. So this was Maya Bennett. Sharp, fast-talking, and utterly unaware that the man she thought was an intern was actually Ethan Vance, the new CEO who had acquired the firm just 2 weeks ago. Ethan had intentionally kept a low profile since the acquisition. No press, no grand announcements. Only a few senior partners even knew his face. He wanted to study the culture before disrupting it, and, more importantly, he wanted to see who was real before the masks came on. And now here he was, being mistaken for an intern by the woman whose name he had seen on nearly every internal report marked high potential. Maya led him through the office, stopping at a large glass conference room. "This is where we'll be for the strategy huddle. You don't have to say much, just observe and take notes." He nodded, amused. 10 minutes later, the room buzzed with energy. Junior analysts were flipping through charts, team leads were tossing around terms like market penetration and long-term yield curves. And in the center of it all stood Maya, sleeves rolled up, marker in hand, commanding the whiteboard like it was a battlefield. Ethan sat quietly at the end of the table, intern, notepad open, pretending to scribble. But he wasn't writing, he was watching. Maya was sharp, confident, unafraid to challenge ideas from senior staff. When someone suggested delaying a client proposal due to budget constraints, she shot back without blinking, "Or we redesign it. Make it leaner, faster, smarter. That's our edge, not excuses." The room went quiet, and then, nods, agreement. She had them. Ethan couldn't help but smile. She wasn't just good, she was leadership material. After the meeting ended, Maya turned to him and handed him a spare notepad. "Next time, take notes. You'll learn faster that way." He took it with a nod. "Thanks, I'm learning a lot already." She grinned. "Good. Interns who keep up get lunch invites. Interns who slack off get spreadsheets." He raised an eyebrow, playing along. "Then I better step up." As she walked away, he let out a quiet laugh. No one had spoken to him like that in years. Not since his startup days, when he was just Ethan from the warehouse, running code at 2 a.m. and delivering pizza to the dev team. There was something refreshing about being invisible again. And something irresistible about her, this woman who commanded boardrooms without knowing she was standing inches away from the man who signed her paycheck. Back in the break room later that afternoon, he poured himself a cheap cup of office coffee. The kind that tasted like burnt hope. Maya walked in again, clearly exhausted but still alert. "Still here, intern Jacob?" she teased. He nodded, just trying to soak up all the wisdom. "Well, you're off to a good start. You didn't spill coffee on anyone today." He smiled. Day 1 success. Maya grabbed a yogurt and leaned against the counter. "You know, Jacob, you seem different. Most interns look terrified on their first day. You look like you're just observing." "Maybe I am." She narrowed her eyes, curious. "Well, keep your eyes open. This company has layers." He looked at her for a second, then said with a grin, "Yeah. I'm starting to see that." And in that moment, as they stood in a tiny break room surrounded by vending machines and blinking lights, Maya had no idea she was talking to the man who would change her life and career forever. The next day began like any other at Kensington Corporate. The office buzzed with morning energy, filled with the hum of printers, clacking keyboards, and phones ringing off the hook. Maya, as usual, had hit the ground running. With a project pitch due next week, she barely had time to breathe between meetings, let alone babysit the intern, but she found herself keeping an eye out for him. Jacob, the intern who didn't quite act like one. He was calm, observant, and strangely composed. No wide-eyed fumbling, no scrambling for approval like most fresh hires. There was something in his posture, like he belonged there. Like he knew something no one else did. But Maya shrugged it off. Maybe he just had confidence. Confidence wasn't a crime. Around noon, she passed by the break room again and found him sitting alone, sipping that terrible office coffee with a half-smile on his face. "You really like that stuff?" she asked, stepping in. He glanced at the mug. "I've had worse," she smirked. "I doubt it. That machine's been killing taste buds since 2015. He chuckled and gestured to the seat across from him. "Join me." Maya hesitated, then sat down. "Aren't you supposed to be assisting the finance team today?" "I did. They're in a 3-hour Zoom call about risk assessments. I figured I'd risk my sanity and sneak away." She laughed, the tension in her shoulders easing a bit. "Smart intern." He tilted his head. "Why do you keep calling me that?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Because you're an intern." He leaned back. "Am I, though?" She gave him a playful glare. "Don't mess with me. I barely have time for people who are actually assigned to me." There was a beat of silence. Then she softened, her tone dropping just a bit. "I was like you once. New here, quiet, watching everyone, and I learned that what separates people in this place isn't talent, it's timing, guts, and who's willing to speak up." "Is that how you made it this far?" "No," she smiled faintly. "I made it because no one thought I could." He studied her, genuinely intrigued. "Tell me." She hesitated, surprised by his interest, then leaned forward slightly. "I was 22, fresh out of school, surrounded by Ivy League grads with money and connections. I had neither. I was invisible, so I worked hard. I stayed late, I volunteered for every garbage assignment, and I watched everything." She paused, then said more quietly, "And I made a promise to myself. If I ever made it, I'd never forget what it felt like to be underestimated." Ethan listened carefully. No interruptions. No pretending to be interested. Just quiet respect. "You're different," she said after a moment. "Most interns ask about promotions or perks. You just observe." He smiled. "Observation's underrated." She crossed her arms, tilting her head. "You sure you're not a spy sent by HR? Would you believe me if I said yes?" "Nope." They both laughed. Then her expression turned more serious. "Can I be honest?" "Always. I'm worried about this new CEO." Ethan froze, but his face remained neutral. "He's a ghost," she continued. "No one's seen him. No one knows what he's like. Some say he's brilliant. Others say he's ruthless. I just hope he's not another cold executive who looks at numbers instead of people." Ethan sipped his coffee slowly. "What if he was neither?" She looked puzzled. "What do you mean? What if he's just human? Trying to understand the company from the inside before making big moves?" Maya blinked, studying him. "That would make him interesting. Maybe even thoughtful." She smirked. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." He grinned. "Fair." As they stood to leave, Maya turned to him. "Seriously though, Jacob, or whatever your name is, you're not what I expected. You see things. You listen. That's rare here, rare anywhere." She grabbed her folder and left, unaware that her words had struck something deep within Ethan. As he watched her walk away, he felt conflicted. She deserved to know who he really was. But he wasn't ready to end this version of their connection. Not yet. There was something genuine in the way she treated him, something he hadn't felt in years. He looked down at his coffee cup, steam still rising, and whispered to himself,